The following video has been created without the use of AI. Please support your human content creators by liking the video and commenting something down below. Subscribing is optional. Now please, enjoy the show. Your body sat in the iron coffin, unmoving. Your body was conserving as much energy as possible. The scientists were afraid of you, and had decided starving you out was the best option. Your body had been proven to be impenetrable by normal means, and it rapidly regenerated as well, comparable to the regenerative abilities of a starfish applied to a bigger mass. Outside your containment chamber, you were unaware of something serious happening. Shots were fired, screams could be heard, and yet silently you just sat there, even when the noises stopped. And then there was nothing. A deafening silence, only interrupted by your own body's sounds of muscles moving freely beneath a thin, gelatinous layer of skin. Your breathing was strained, every exhale causing a thick cloud of mist pouring out of your slightly opened jaws. And then, you didn't know how long there had been nothing but silence. A noise came from the heavy vault door leading into your coffin. You were a bioweapon developed by an alternate Earth. Your overall designation by Urban Shade was W-002-3, while W-002-1 was a portal machine created by a redacted scientist using a different anomaly as a power source. The world behind it was dubbed W-002-2. It was a strange corruption of the universe that we know. It was theorized either the portal led to the future millions of years into it, or a universe where the impact of the meteoroid that wiped out the dinosaurs brought with it a horrifying alien creature or virus. Either way, the world they found on the other side was covered in thick layers of bone and chitin. Machines made of pulsating flesh ruled supreme, and smart humanoid creatures appearing like skinless humans ruled as the apex predator. They worshipped their own biomechanical machines, fusing with them to make them bigger and stronger, as well as tending to them like they were holy pets. It were these fleshy machines that kept them alive, birthed them, and of course, ordered them around, as cryptic as it was. And they were quite aggressive, to say the least, seeing regular humans as mere additional biomass to feed their mother machine. To prevent an end-of-the-world scenario where whatever mutation caused this would consume our world as well, the portal was closed. You being the only recovered artifact that was kept alive for study. You were a tall, feminine humanoid, about 8 feet tall. Your body had a similar flailed appearance to that of normal denizens of W-002-2, with the exception of lungs 3 times the size of a normal W-002-2 dweller. And you are covered in thin, rubbery-feeling plates of grey chitin. Hundreds of thousands of thin white antennas were growing out of your head, giving you the appearance of having hair. You had about 7 eyes squeezed into each of your eye holes, improving your vision while also giving you an uncanny appearance. And your mouth appeared to have its cheeks slit, similar to the person that had been given a Glasgow smile, allowing you to completely unhinge your jaw like a snake, revealing also 3 rows of sharp teeth and a deep abyss reaching into your gut. Your chest had been modified to fit your increased lung capacity. In other words, your enlarged breasts were used as additional room, and they expanded and deflated with each breath you took. But it was whenever you exhaled that the true horror of your existence was revealed. A fine, white mist was produced in your lungs that had catastrophic effects on whoever inhaled it. Symptoms included an overindulgence of food, limited daytime movements, violent rubbing against hard surfaces, theorized to mark territory perhaps, aggressive behavior, especially among males, increased switching, increase of sensitivity to various scents, especially to those of women during the ovulation phase. In other words, inhaling the mist activated a sort of rotting behavior in any sentient being, including humans, that was difficult, nigh impossible to control. The effects only becoming worse the thicker the mist was. Hundreds, thousands of your kind had been created by the inhabitants of W-002-2 and denizens. The working theory by Urban Shade was simple. You were part of a terraforming effort by the other side. The mist, due to its humidity, prevented the skinless beings on the other side from drying up, for an example, while also making it much easier to convince a human to be absorbed by a wet mass of flesh when they derived some sort of pleasure from it via a tight, wet, pulsating hole. Potentially there were other yet undiscovered bioweapons on the other side that would deal with the landscape and construction and breeding of living machines. A nightmare Urban Shade wanted to prevent at all costs. Seeing the light fall into your chamber, your head raised, and you turned to face the outside. You stood up, slowly. The gravity of this world you found yourself in was slightly stronger than the one on the other side. So movements you did were slow and calculated to prevent stumbling. Whoever or whatever opened your door seemed to have already gone by the time you poked your head through the opening. What you found was a metal facility. Strange angular shapes and cold surfaces. It was so unlike the world you came from, which was covered in spirals and bones and flesh. You placed a hand on the metal wall, seeing its condensation. You exhaled curiously. The true darkness of your chamber had kept you in a dormant state. True darkness kept you from moving and acting, so this was rather pleasant. "Oh, hello there!" shouted an excited voice. Your gaze slowly turned to a speaker. You approached it, staring at the strange machine. "Just call me Painter. Listen, hey, I freed you for a very special reason." You couldn't understand the words of the man from this side of the portal, and yet you kept staring as if you did. It was the first voice you heard for a very long time after all. "See, there's this guy I want dead, and you seem to be just the right candidate for that. After all, aren't you literally a tool made to annihilate this planet? You blinked. The words coming from the non-fleshy machine were becoming dull and boring.
You much of a talker, huh? I get that. I'll just talk for the both of us. Let's see.
A noise behind you caught your attention.
I'm just quickly going to guide you through the facility. Be sure to make every human left in this place turn into a horny grape zombie, alright?
Slowly but surely, you walk down the hallways that the AI was opening for you. While the painter wasn't exactly sure where Sebastian was, there had been a trail of destroyed and emptied out sentry turrets that you could follow. Since you were such an imposing threat to all sentient life, you were mostly kept alarmed by other anomalies, including void mass, which avoided you completely. Though you did encounter a rather grotesque fish monstrosity. It had the appearance of a rotten, oversized fish that quite literally swam just above the ground, floating. Its jaws contained multiple white glowing eyes. As it lunged at you, you grabbed it by the mouth, causing it to scream loudly. You could feel its strength. It was immense, and yet not stronger than you. While your nature forced you to exhale mist at opponents, it seemed to have no effect on the pandemonium, so you shoved a foot into its mouth. And shoved one hand immediately into its jaws. Grabbing one of the big white eyes, the creature screamed in agony as you ripped one out. It spit black, acidic blood at you as it immediately made a U-turn, fleeing. This thing sure was easy prey. Nothing compared to the predators from the other side. The eyeball felt slimy in your hand as it stared back at you, as if the monster could still see through it. You blinked, and without hesitation you crushed it in your hand. And strangely enough, this caused another scream from the pandemonium far, far away from you. And then you continued walking, as if nothing happened. And yet, the screams of the unfortunate anomaly didn't go unnoticed. It was as if the entire facility awoke, as it realized a new apex had arrived. The laughs of the painter were heard all across the complex, while monsters roared in panic and anger. It was also this moment Sebastian Solus, the Saboteur, who purposefully kept you and a few other anomalies locked up as they posed too big of danger, became aware of you. He knew the AI had to be behind it. He wouldn't boldly broadcast his annoying voice over the entire facility otherwise. Hastily, Sebastian packed up his things. Looked like he'd need to get deeper into the facility for some peace. Now well. Sucks to be another expendable then. It was just in this moment that on the security office screen he was currently inhabiting appeared the grinning, painting face of the AI.
Sebastian, I'm not going to pretend I know where you are, but take a deep breath. Things are about to get bloody.
Very obviously, the eye couldn't see him through the screen. Aw, what a bummer. And Sebastian says that made sure any camera he saw was made useless with his trusty spray can. But then he smirked. Well, maybe you should challenge whatever the AI planned for him. Perhaps that would shut him up. Sebastian left the room and realized something almost immediately. That he was not going to enjoy this, as he found himself in what he would describe in the middle of a long stretch of open doors.
You look confused, Sebastian, old pal, taunted the AI.
Wait. Did he forget one of the cameras?
As if I wouldn't figure out where exactly you are by the black screens alone. Wait, you are looking confused right now, right? Because otherwise this would be kind of embarrassing. I'm just going to pretend you're shitting yourself right now, okay? What are you going to do? Go one way or the other? But she's gonna find you. She's gonna get ya.
The Saboteur took this as confirmation that the painter didn't know where he was exactly. And that he didn't know if he needed to go left or right, north, south, east or west. He had no idea where his monster was coming from. But he was pretending. And pretending quite well, actually. Soon after that, grumbled Sebastian. He slithered quickly. After all, he was being hunted by something. Any noise, aside from the painter, was putting him on edge. Anomalies didn't work together normally. The Mask of Sadness being the only exception, since the thing was static and the painter guided people into its fleshy embrace. That didn't really count, though. This was an entirely different thing, though. As Sebastian was thrown into a maze of hallways, the painter having dropped all pretense. This was a death maze, no doubt. To increase his speed, Sebastian leaped forward, and instead of slithering, he used his arms to quickly pull himself forward. He rushed through the twisting hallways, blood-covered rooms, and destroyed laboratories. But he was unable to change his path. Doors would simply not react. And eventually, he had enough. He found himself in a large, open space. Seemed to be an emptied-out cafeteria. A camera was looking at him.
What are you doing?
Almost confused, Sebastian looked up. And he smirked. Huh. I'm calling a bluff. This is a trick. Nothing is actually coming. He said smugly.
No. Something is coming. You were supposed to bet me to save you, right? Oh, crap, you might actually die here now.
The noise of metal doors closing from far behind caught even Sebastian off guard.
I was just joking. Just, among friends. Can you please get me out of here now?
The Saboteur deadpanned, but then...
Uh-oh.
Sebastian couldn't see it, but the painter had closed one of the doors right in front of your face, and... you didn't allow that. The entire facility seemed to shake as you punched a hole through the metal. Painter, what was that?
I may have freed one of the specimens you specifically didn't want roaming around.
The painter then went silent. Even the lights flickered, as if to indicate his departure. Great. Annoyed at the eye for shutting the door in your face, you had become agitated, causing you to just allow waves of deadly clouds to flood out of your open mouth. Your entire body was now hidden behind a wide veil of smoke, only showing your silhouette. There was no stopping you now. The only thing that could had decided to cower in fear. All the AI really had to do was lock you in a room and kill the lights faster than you could break it down. To put you back into a dormant state. And yet he didn't think of that. The mist coming out of the vents near him was the first thing Sebastian noticed, and he thought for a moment. While grabbing a notepad, quickly he shifted through the documents that he had. Finally, he found yours. That was the only one that fitted with the mist. And then his eyes narrowed, quickly reading over it. You needed to be stopped at all means necessary. But you alone could not cause the extinction of mankind, not terraform the planet. This was still a step above anything else contained here, at least in the black side. The devastation alone that you could cause by emerging in the Bay Area of New York. No, that was just him thinking too quickly. What if you found the inactive portal? And so he did something he probably would regret in about 20 minutes. He swiped his hand in front of the vent and inhaled. Sure, it wasn't enough to affect him much, though he did feel a little hot. As he started slithering towards the direction he was certain to find you, determined to stop you. Through the white wall before you, you could only make out a silhouette for a split second. Without hesitation, you caught a fist right in your face. The force was just enough to make you stumble backwards and almost fall thanks to the increased gravity here. Sebastian used this to his advantage. It couldn't even be classified as a fight, what was happening here, as his fists and claws rained down on your body. You were a bioweapon meant to exterminate whole cities within hours. You were not meant to fight hand to hand, though you were strong, but really slow. Your body made contact with the floor after Sebastian had used his tail to rip the floor away from under your feet. But as he stood there above you, he grunted, he heaved. Slowly raised your gaze. The glow of his eyes penetrated the thick mist around you. He sounded like an exhausted bloodhound. Salvia was flowing out of his mouth. He slammed his tail on your head. If you had a nose, it surely would be broken by now, as it made contact with the metal floor. Despite your size towering over regular humans, you still managed to be somewhat smaller than Sebastian, at least keeping in mind his elongated fishtail. He spun, using the force of it to slap the fin against your cheek, causing you to roll on your back. And it was then, when his brain no longer cooperated, that the Saboteur gasped, and he went down. One of his 3 hands placed on his mouth, he tried not to vomit. The fuck, it was affecting his biology rapidly. Taking his chance, you stood up. Your attention was solely on him now. That's precisely what he wanted. You pulled your right leg backwards and then rammed your foot into his stomach with a mighty kick. Sebastian screamed in pain, but you didn't let up. As he lied there, whimpering on the ground, you grabbed a fistful of his hair, raised his head, and punched him right in the face. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. The fishman spit out a sharp tooth, blood dripping out of his mouth. But with as much pain as he was in, thanks to the mist, he kinda didn't care. It had been around the time he had slapped you with his fin, when at least to him, this fight had become a sort of foreplay. He still had his goal in mind of stopping you, taking you down, but at the same time, he just wanted to shove himself into anything warm, tight, and wet, and you just happened to be female. The next hit he stopped with his hand, but his wrist just cracked backwards by the force of your punch, and it still connected with his face. For a second, he was knocked out. Taking this opportunity, you raised your body and stomped on his tail. He screamed in both pleasure and pain. His 2 still functioning hands turned to fists, slamming them onto the ground to hype himself up. He then catapulted himself, leaping against your chest, burying his leftover teeth in your shoulder. A mix of your own and his blood sprayed into his mouth as he clung to you like a piranha. with one hand firmly cupping your chest. He used his other to repeatedly punch you in the stomach. You were confused at the sensation. This was pain, no doubt. You went down on one knee, trying to rip this punching little parasite away from you. But like a snake, it wiggled itself around your grasp. You could feel Sebastian as he slithered around you. You burped a big cloud of smoke out of your throat, hitting him right in the face, making him only more violent. Normally, you were too big and too strong for the victims of your fork to harm you. Not like you had control over your fog production anyways. Taking this moment of confusion to its fullest, like a snake getting ready to mate, Sebastian wrapped his entire body around you, squeezing tightly, making it impossible for you to breathe. Your eyes widened. He then pulled his head back, ripping out a chunk of your shoulder. He spit your flesh to the side. For a moment, your eyes met. Your emotionless visage meeting a savage one. He stopped punching and instead just grabbed your face, throwing his entire weight into you, throwing you on your back, pinning you down aggressively. With the entire weight of his body, after all, you're big enough and strong enough that he could be rough with you. You'd survive it. You bit into each other's jaws, a violent kiss that caused your sharp teeth to intertwine. His thick, rubbery tongue shot forward like a tentacle, as he tried to bite down on you, while you did the same. It was a battle of biting force, more merciless, more violent, more powerful. Meanwhile, you were incapable of stopping him from inhaling the panic clouds coming out of your lungs. His hands tore at your body, his thumb prodding into your open wound that was already beginning to close. He'd make sure this one remained open, and he was done with you. He could feel it creaking just behind your lips. Your teeth were straining. His bite force was somehow greater than yours. And then you wrapped your arms around his hip, squeezing as tightly as you could, trying to make him lose consciousness. But Sebastian just grunted. He didn't let go. He wouldn't let go. He had come so far. And that's when he grabbed your antennas. A full fistful of the hair like appendages growing out of your head. And it was as if a white explosion happened right behind your 14 eyes, paralyzing you for but a moment. And a moment was just enough for him to adjust his body over your entrance. Your eyes met one final time. Who would have thought your ultimate weakness was hair pulling? Whenever you resisted him now, he'd just pull again, and the explosion would come back, blinding you, seeing you, ruining you. There was nothing you could do but submit now. He would destroy you. Oh well, at least he would try.
Hey, you watched the video until the very end. That's very kind of you. But before I say goodbye, I have to shout out all of my lovely channel members, especially my high-ranking darling stewards, who get a members-only video every month. Join the tier for just $4.99. Anyways, we have Nicolai Hatcher, Maxi Cat, Alison Watkins, Bella Mare, Mystic Jade 111, Giovanna Moretti, Twilight Mia, Angry Boxman, Hella, Anonymous Weep, and Nicodemus D. Thank you for supporting me. Also, thank you to everybody else who is supporting me. You are keeping me alive.